Although I'm a casual player of Animal Crossing, this has to be one of the most fascinating things I've recently discovered. If you've ever played Animal Crossing New Horizons, then these might look familiar to you. Just an ordinary ice cream cone, you might think, right? Well, the meaning behind them goes way deeper than just an ordinary ice cream cone. To give some context, after watching a PewDiePie video where he talks about the good and the bad in his first year as a Japan resident, he brings up how many traffic cones Japan has in general and proceeds to bring up that these bamboo things in Animal Crossing are basically historic versions of Japanese cones. What might not make sense to me here in the States must make sense to others in a foreign country. And it just so happens that I've made the same connection as I've recently come back from a 2-week trip in Japan. And you want to know what I noticed there? Cones. No, not just any cones. Ice cream cones. Literally, they are everywhere. On this little trip, we went to 4 different cities: Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, and Hiroshima. When I first started to see them in Tokyo, I didn't think much of them except for the fact that they look really familiar. As the days started going along, ramen and sushi were being consumed. The common theme of small ice cream shops were everywhere. I couldn't help but wonder why all these ice cream spots owned the same exact lamp mold. Now, granted, there were a few here and there that were a bit different, but for the most part, they were all the same swirly soft serve in a vanilla cone. The same ones that you'd see in Animal Crossing. So, I decided to do some digging. By searching the term soft serve lamp Animal Crossing, Google Images brings up none other than the soft serve lamp from Animal Crossing. I don't know what I was thinking, but we can dig deeper. In Animal Crossing, the side of the cone has English text that simply says soft cream. On the other hand, the real-life soft-served lamps in Japan have writing on the side of them that looks like this. And although I don't speak Japanese nor can I read kanji, with the power of the internet, I'm able to find out what this writing says. By using a language recognition website, drawing lines to recreate the kanji molded on the side, and translating these symbols given to us from Japanese into English, we get the words Nisei Cone. And this is where things get interesting. Back in 1947, Nisei Shokai Incorporated was founded in hopes to establish trading services necessary for reconstructing Japan. To keep a long story short, entering the 1950s, Japan was introduced to cone soft-serve ice cream at a carnival sponsored by the US military for America's Independence Day, July 3rd, 1951 to be exact. The Nisei Shokai Incorporated company would take note on how popular soft serve was at this event and started to supply cafes and restaurants with soft serve machines of their own. The biggest issue for them at the time was that 100% of the cones used for serving were all being imported from out of the country. How does this relate to Animal Crossing? Just wait. By 1952, the Nisei Shokai company would change its name to strictly NES Corporation, and by 1953, the production of the soft-serve cones would become domestic, meaning that the NES Corporation would start making these cups, or cones, in-house. The in-house creation of 2 ice cream cups would be born. The number 1 flare top cone, which now that I'm looking back at footage is the one that I actually recognize being there, and the number 2 takeout cone, which is the one that is more recognizable by now. But the story doesn't end there. As the years go by, the popularity of soft-served ice cream does not slow down. By 1967, the production of the number 15 takeout cone would be an improved version of number 2, and the introduction of double swirled flavored machines would become public. Oh, doesn't that look familiar? The 1990s would see another boom in the soft serve industry as local fruits for different flavors would become a hot topic. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? And then we pretty much make it to here today. Literally, the amount of flavors that Nisei claims to have is so many that they just stopped counting after 500. The reason these simple furniture items in Animal Crossing New Horizons look so familiar to me is because of the Nisei Corporation alone. From a Tokyo Weekender article written back in 2020, today, Nisei makes 70% of all cones in Japan, 65% of all soft cream freezers in Japan, and 55% of all soft cream mix in Japan. To say that Japanese people love their soft serve would be an understatement. The fact that the developers of Animal Crossing would put in the same exact soft serve lamp that you can actually find in pictures as far back as the 1970s shows how much of a cultural impact soft serve has had on Japan. And remember that date, July 3rd, 1951? Well, it turns out that back in the 90s, Japan officially designated July 3rd as Soft Cream Day. Now, I know this video can be a little bit silly claiming that there's so much more lore behind a virtual endgame item, as you can claim the same thing for Animal Crossing New Leaf, but honestly, I think it's a whole lot more interesting than the average player would be able to find. So, who knew? That ordinary ice cream cone from Animal Crossing New Horizons that you thought was just a boring old ice cream cone has been part of Japanese history for over 70 years now.